All aboard! Next stop, Chicago Junction.
Ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Chicago Junction from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. Today the panel will be talking about railroads and model railroads. And now to start today's broadcast, here's our announcer, Mr. Brian.
Well, thank you, John. I guess we missed the first part, didn't hear the music.
I don't know what happened.
See, that's what we get for Ron not coming.
We don't have anything on our headphones.
Your headphones are not working?
Nope.
Well, we can hear, but
Well, the amplifier's on.
What about the one at the end of the table?
1, 2, no.
I can hear you there.
I can hear you. I can hear you talking through. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll just keep it on tape.
So she's working?
And I'm your announcer, Brian Valou. And welcome to another
Exciting.
exciting and new.
Talk about trains.
The wonderful world of trains. Oh, the relaxing noise.
And all the accidents in the last week.
I am a rail buff. I belong to several museums.
You are a museum.
Oh, I finally qualified for it. Okay.
Probably get some grants. Preservation grants.
Yes.
Gotta make it.
You get a preservation grant like Madonna got.
Gosh.
Oh, he's not a Madonna. He's not even a Charles Atlas.
Anyway.
And I'm Ron the Mouth, and I'm a Garden Railroad, and I can't wait till spring so I can get my trains running.
You can run them now, just push snow around. Oh, wait, we don't have any snow, do we?
What's that?
Snow?
Snow.
I don't know.
It'll be here eventually.
When we at least want it. We're going
It's nice knowing you.
I'm Dave DeRuska. I am a retired locomotive engineer. I'm also the Grand Poobah of Chicago Railroad History Month this year. This year is the 175th anniversary of the first train to operate.
Were you there?
Chicago. I missed it by a couple of years. Where's Ron going? Where's Brian going?
Getting his glasses. He needs to see somehow.
Okay.
Okay.
Got to get his eyes put in.
To my right.
All right. My name is Tim. I'm the youngest panelist on this podcast. I'm a model railroader. Love trains and everything. All right. So now we're just waiting for Brian to come back with his glasses, and then we'll get the show on the road.
Yeah, we can lead off with something while we're waiting for him.
Yeah. What do you got for us,
I've
Dave?
got the City Council of Chicago agreed Wednesday to vacate streets and alleys to pave the way for a $150 million expansion of Norfolk Southern's intermodal yard in Englewood after the local alderperson lifted the legislative brick. Last month, Alderman Jeanette Taylor extended what had been a 15-year odyssey for the rail giant by using a parliamentary maneuver to delay the project. It has been mired in controversy over the residential displacement it required and the truck traffic and pollution it caused for those residents who remain. Taylor did an about-face. She voted in favor of the agreement, paving the way for her colleagues to do the same, though you'd never know it from how she admonished the railroad. The Norfolk Southern got rich off the back of slaves. Resisted giving this community the little things they asked for, Taylor said, referring to her demand for an ironclad agreement of jobs and contracts for Englewood residents. The redevelopment agreement hammered out in 2014 does the bare minimum in the black and brown community, she said, and she did not sign off on it. I'm almost ashamed and embarrassed that somebody would sign off on some crap and do not do any follow-through. They did not make sure people got jobs in the community. They did not make sure they were going to do a hiring fair. They did not make sure that black folks from the community get the contracts. What does that say about us? I'm tired of sitting in a space where I'm ignored and not listened to just because of the color of my skin, Taylor said. After venting her anger, Taylor lifted the legislative version of the railroad gate. Norfolk Southern and the city have agreed to the terms that the community are asking, and that's all I was asking for, Taylor said. I want to thank the Black Caucus and members of the Latino Caucus for standing with me, because sometimes it's easier to take the check and look away. Norfolk Southern called Wednesday's vote an important moment for an expansion critical to Chicago's role as the heart of our nation's supply chain. Construction can now move forward and will bring additional opportunities for local, diverse contractors and their workers. Once completed, the facility's expanded capacity will bring good-paying jobs created by Norfolk Southern, as well as those with contractors and other Chicago businesses that support the yard's ongoing operations, the statement said. All right.
Wow.
How about that?
Yeah, wow.
How about that? There were people living there who were just like holding out, and they didn't want to take the offer from NS, and there was concern that they were going to use eminent domain to clear them out and give them less than they would have gotten from the original settlement from the railroad. So I don't know how that all shook out. I don't know, you know. The alderwoman signed off on it, so I guess everything's copacetic. Another step forward for Chicago.
How many steps?
Well, we have to take 10 back first.
Okay. They're really helping their community, aren't they?
Feds award Metro UP North rebuild project $117 million. The project to improve a metro route in northern Chicago qualified for a $117 million mega infrastructure grant award, federal officials announced yesterday. The grant is one of 9 valued at a combined $1.2 billion that the Biden administration awarded under the new National Infrastructure, I have to swallow, get this whole thing down here, National Infrastructure Project Assistance Discretionary Grant Program, known as MEGA.
That's a mouthful.
MEGA. The $117 million will help fund the Metro Union Pacific North rebuild Fullerton to Addison project, which calls for replacing 11 bridges, 4 miles of track structure, and 1.7 miles of retaining walls along Metro's UP North line. Metro estimates the projects will reduce passenger delays by 38 million hours over the next 30 years. Wow. I wonder what that brings down to daily. A minute? American Public Transportation officials said in a press release the grant is one of 4 awarded yesterday to critical passenger rail and transit projects, they said. So, now that they've torn up the 3rd track, they can focus on making the 2 tracks work better.
You could maybe.
There was a big stink about the retaining wall issue because all these people that bought brand new homes along the retaining wall had yards up to the retaining wall, and now the retaining wall is taking their yard away, and they're going to be looking out at the retaining wall from their expensive houses and condos.
Well, considering
That much property they're going to take away?
Well, it's not so much they're taking away. The railroad actually owns.
Yeah, the railroad owns it, right?
They own it, and the thing is, the people building on it decide to take the railroad land.
Well, they used eminent domain. Well, it doesn't work the other way around, does it?
I guess not.
Yeah, there were also a lot of community gardens and stuff along there that are getting ripped out. And I'm quite familiar with that area. And
It was nice.
yeah, it was. C'est la vie. That's the way things go in the city of wind. They just blow away.
Here today.
Gone tomorrow.
That's right.
Do you want to hear about Metra's new 6-axle commuter locomotives?
Oh,
They got
are
new
they going to
ones?
finally unleash them?
No.
They're still in the rocket house.
Metra METX number 500 was rebuilt from TFM SD70 Mac number 1602, and it is seen here as in its as-built configuration and paint. Well, that was a photo that I had. Metra's 6-axle locomotives, the arrival in October of 2022, marks the return of the 6-axle locomotives to Chicago after more than a decade. Rebuilt from former Kansas City Southern Transportación Ferroviaria Mexicana. Hope I said that. Sorry to our Mexican listeners. 70 Max sourced from Progress Rail's locomotive fleet. The 15-unit order brings new technology to the commuter agency along with lower emissions. While the balance of order will arrive in Metra's current paint scheme, number 500 was painted to commemorate the upcoming 50th anniversary of the creation of the Regional Transportation Authority. While 6-axle commuter power has been traditionally rare, Metra has had the most 6-axle experience of any agency in North America. The agency has operated 4 different 6-axle models and 3 different truck configurations. The oldest were the former Chicago Northwestern E8s and Burlington Northern E9s, with the standard A1A configuration found under the double diesel locomotives. The CC trucked F40Cs were purchased new by Metra's predecessor, the Regional Transportation Authority, in 1974, and were essentially an SDP-40F with head-end power instead of steam generators. The 70 Mac introduces AC traction to Metra's diesel fleet, along with the B1B truck arrangement, in which 2 axles closest to the fuel tank are unpowered. This allows 4 of the locomotive's 6 AC inverters to be assigned to each traction motor, with a 5th used for HEP, and the 6th as a spare for either traction or HEP in case of inverter failure. While the 70 Max is operating normally, the 5th and 6th inverters will alternate HEP duties to keep the usage uniform across the equipment. Under current federal emission standards, 70 Max such as these would fall under the lowest Tier 0 emission requirement. Metra chose to upgrade the 70 Max to Tier 3 during rebuild, requiring the additional of flared radiators on the long hood to accommodate the additional engine cooling needed. Metra expects to receive 1 new per month starting in November and has the options up to 27 more. Revenue service is still some time off, with crew and mechanical training just begun, along with resolving any bugs during testing, then inevitably rise with delivery of any new locomotive order. That testing is not going on at Metra. There's also a 70 Mac undergoing tests at the Transportation Technology Center in Colorado. So there you go. Don't expect them anytime soon.
Oh.
We're still talking.
We're not recording.
We're not?
Would you have time to stop here?
Does it mean I've been blabbing for nothing?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
We learned a lot.
You do a good job of blabbing.
I do. I know.
Mm-hmm.
You got a degree in that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, by the way, our friends at UP. Ah. They went ahead and they're starting their program
Oh,
with the expediters.
the expediters.
Oh,
Yes, they are getting set up.
Expediters.
This is going to be quite interesting.
that's still the word of the month.
Well, it's
The word of the past 2 months.
it's the test program. They're trying it on different territories.
Yes, they are.
Will you get time to use
And I notice that they don't have any ones that are in nooks and
I
crannies.
know. Yeah. I have
NS completes controlled release of fumes at derailment site.
now and Monday. If you could stop there.
Came out last night. The thing popped up on Progressive. They finally
Just call me ahead of time.
found do a controlled fume
I'm not
out of the tank cars.
Oh, out in Ohio, Pennsylvania border there,
Yeah, that one in Palestine.
Palestine.
And yeah, Palestine, Ohio, only 30 minutes from the border of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And so they did a controlled release of chemical fumes. They finally set it up, and since they had the wreck on the 3rd of February.
Finally cooled it down enough.
Yeah. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro yesterday ordered further evacuations around the area where the toxic chemicals continue to burn following the February 3rd derailment of the NS train that was carrying the hazardous materials. They also put out an order if you're getting stuff you expect to come through Pittsburgh from Cleveland, give it an extra 24 hours. Governors ordered the evacuations because the vinyl chloride contained contents of 5 rail cars were unstable and could potentially explode, causing deadly disbursement of shrapnel and toxic fumes. To alleviate the risk, uncontrollable shrapnel from an explosion, NS yesterday conducted controlled releases of the vinyl chloride. According to us, the controlled release process involved burning of the rail car's chemicals, which releases fumes into the air that can be deadly if inhaled. 50 rail cars of the 141-car train derailed in East Palestine, which is near the Ohio-Pennsylvania state border. 20 hazardous material cars were in the train consist, 10 of which derailed. 5 of the derailed hazmat cars was carrying the vinyl chloride. A media briefing, the National Transportation Safety Board said it appears the derailment was caused by a mechanical issue involving one of the rail car axles. The derailment
Speculating.
A derailment prompted a massive fire which continues to burn. Sunday night, a drastic temperature change occurred in the rail car, causing potential for catastrophic tanker failure that could cause an explosion, with the potential for deadly shrapnel traveling up to a mile, DeWine said in a prepared statement. DeWine twice ordered Ohio residents within a 1-mile radius to evacuate. When it was determined that NS would conduct the controlled release of vinyl chloride, the evacuations were called for again in Ohio and expanded into Pennsylvania. Ohio State Environment and U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, good old EPA, are monitoring the air quality. I think they're 40 miles away.
Well,
Yeah.
if the air's bad 40 miles away, I would guess it's worse even closer.
Ohio State Environmental and the U.S. Environmental are monitoring the air quality, DeWine said this morning in an interview on the NPR. The
Are
derailment.
we practicing here, or are we actually recording?
We recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Why?
Just wondering.
Oh,
I don't see the funny lines.
I got a new computer, but it's recording on a mini disc.
Okay. The derailment and its aftermath raises many questions about safety of rail freight operations. As you can see, a catastrophic wreck like this, knowing what the train was carrying, you have to go back and re-examine the entire situation. The government is doing an exam to find out what happened, but yes, it certainly is a wake-up call. We have to have a hard look at all the railroads and figure, yes, we'll let trucks carry it all.
Oh, yeah, right. Through the center of your town.
Everybody wants damn trucks. Okay.
Do they have to have that many hazardous cars on a long train?
Well, they only had 5 of them on there.
Okay.
All in the same block.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, 141. So you figure out how much that tonnage was on that train.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yep. Meanwhile, there's no estimate when the rail freight service will return to the area. And its officials said that a service alert to its customers. Alternate routes continue to be used in an effort to minimize shipment and availability delays. These routes will add additional time to transit, and customers should expect delays of at least 24 hours on shipments moving between Cleveland and the Northeast via Pittsburgh.
They still have to get permission to be on their line? To go around all that?
Oh yeah, they've got
they'll route over other.
Yeah.
But I mean, will they have to ask permission to?
Well, they own most of the trackage around
Yeah, right.
that.
It's either the CSX or the NS.
No, you know what I'm
Take
just.
your choice.
Well, you can't go around because you're not.
No, they only did that to the Wisconsin Central.
Yeah.
Can't take you, WC. Can't take you. I work for the Wisconsin Central.
Yeah, the FRA warns Class 1s to correct training program deficiencies. The Federal Railroad Administration is warning Class 1s that it will take action if they fail to adequately address deficiencies in their training, qualification, and certification programs for train crews. In a January 5th letter, they finally got this out to us. Man, that's good. They're
It's
right
only
on top of it.
February whatever.
Yeah, they're on top. To the top executives of the 7 Class 1s and the Association of American Railroads, FRA Administrator Amit Bose noted that some changes made to the training, qualification, and certification programs will not adequately address the deficiencies the agency identified in audits of those programs. Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, enacted in 2021, requires the FRA to audit railroads' training programs to determine whether they provide locomotive engineers and conductors the knowledge, skill, and ability to discharge their responsibilities safely. Wow.
Yeah, well, I'm very familiar with all that, working in certification.
Yes. A cornerstone for the safety of rail operations. The agency has revived several programs submitted by the railroads and have tried to take a collaborative approach by providing detailed comments regarding regulatory compliance. Some programs have been reviewed by the FRA several times, and in some cases, the revisions to the program barely made incremental progress towards correcting the deficiencies that the FRA took great care in detailing in successive letters to the railroad. To encourage full compliance, please be advised that the FRA is committed to pursuing enforcement action if a railroad's resubmittal certification program continues to fail to address the deficiencies identified by the FRA. When auditing the railroad's programs, the FRA takes into account the opportunities it already provided to the railroads to address the previously identified deficiencies. Bose said, I want to remind the industry that the quality and adequacy of these certification programs are fundamental to ensuring that your operating crews are properly trained and to safely perform their assigned duties. This starts with the certification programs that clearly meet the minimum training and qualification standards, the letter said. Just like having one man in the cab of the locomotive to cover everything.
Well, plus they're going to be teaching truck driving. They're going to be teaching truck driving.
Yeah, basically that's it.
For your expediters.
I remind. A copy of the letter also was sent to the presidents of the Smart Transportation Division and Brotherhood of
There's a what?
the Smart Transportation.
Smart, yep.
Smart?
Oh yeah, there's a smart.
Sheet metal and, I don't know, radiator. the UTU, the United Transportation Union, merged with the sheet metal workers, and now they're called Smart. I think they're called Smart UTU.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the conductors always thought they were smarter than the engineers anyways.
But the Smart Transportation Division, Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen, the unions that represent the railroad employees who are trained under the programs being audited. Ooh. Really excited me. I actually turned on a news program because it had a railroad. It was called Railroad Tunnel. And guess who it turned out to be? President Biden.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And the Baltimore and Pontiac tunnels in Baltimore, with a train sitting there, and then next to him was one of the new Acela trains. And they were announcing the federal projects funds for the Hudson B&P tunnel projects. President Joe Biden announced today, actually yesterday, of the $1.2 billion in grants for the new National Infrastructure Project Assistance Program, MEGA, for 9 projects across the country, including one to fund the preparations for the Hudson Tunnel that Governor Christie gave away when he first took office, and gateway projects. Of the 9 grants, one for $292 million has been awarded for a project known as Hudson Yards Concrete Casing Section 3 in New York City. The grant will help pay for the final section of concrete casing intended to preserve the future right-of-way for the construction of the rail tubes that would be built under the Hudson River between New York and New Jersey. The project also will lay the groundwork for the much-anticipated Gateway project, which calls for major rail infrastructure improvements along the Northeast Corridor. When completed, the Hudson Tunnel project will improve commute times and Amtrak reliability on the NEC and support the NEC regional economy, Biden administration officials said in a press release. Biden is in New York City today to highlight the need for Hudson Tunnel's replacement and the infrastructure involvement in the Jobs Act 2JA, 2JA, legislation that he signed in November 2021 to help the project. We're in 2023, finally, 2 years later.
Yeah, it's
Better
better for a
late than-
federal project.
Hey, you know what they say, better late than never.
Yeah, the Congress says
I've
that a
heard
lot.
that expression.
Yesterday, Biden visited Baltimore to announce the more than $4 billion in federal 2JA money to help fund the replacement of the 150-year-old Baltimore and Potomac Tunnel, which currently is Amtrak's biggest choke point between Washington, D.C. and New Jersey. Also,
giving everything away.
Also yesterday, Amtrak announced its project kickoff agreement with the state of Maryland for the first phase of the BP replacement. Maryland state officials intend to commit $450 million in funding to support the project. Those dollars combined with Amtrak's commitment of $750 million put the project one step closer to full funding under the Federal Railroad Administration's Federal-State Partnership for Intercity Passenger Rail Grant Travel. Replacing the Civil War-era BP tunnel will nearly triple train capacity in this critical section of the Northeast Corridor for the 9 million annual Amtrak and MARC customers who rely on this vital connection, says Amtrak CEO Stephen Gardner in a press release. It was surprising he found his way out of there, but then again, he was close to an airport anyway. The BP tunnel replacement.
Amtrak Joe took a plane?
Oh, not Amtrak Joe. Stephen Gardner.
Oh, yeah, right. Mr.
Mr. Which airline did he come from?
Frontier?
Yeah, I think it was.
So, like
in addition to the project kickoff agreement with Maryland, a new project labor agreement has been signed between Amtrak and the Baltimore D.C. Building and Construction Trades Council, which is the local affiliate of the North America's Building Trades Union, NAB2. Boy, that sounds like something out of Star Wars. NAB2.
That was Naboo.
Yeah, it was Naboo. Now we're NAB2. And the PLA is the first agreement under the 2021 Memorandum of Understanding between Amtrak and NAB2, covering Amtrak's major civil engineering projects, including the remaining phases of the BMP tunnel replacement program. PLA is a collective bargaining agreement will govern terms, conditions, employment for the workers constructing the bridge replacement. Now, when did the tunnel become a bridge? Says Amtrak officials.
Speaking of Star Wars, we've had a technological upgrade in our household. We now have a Roomba, which Mary has coined BB1.
BB1.
The little cleaning robot. Didn't come equipped with any...
instructions?
No, yeah, it did have instructions. Didn't come equipped with any lightsabers.
I don't think a Roomba can hold a lightsaber, can you? Do you?
And it's not supposed to hold cats, dogs, or small children either, according to the instructions.
But I see videos online of cats riding around on them.
Well, they may burn out.
What?
Or maybe those are the special ones. We didn't get a special one.
The souped-up ones, okay.
Yeah, I got one more for Maryland.
Uh-oh.
One for Maryland. I saw this, and I'm glad I did. Maryland train engineer charged in the death of a star high school football player. A Maryland train operator has been charged in the connection with a horrific crash that killed a star high school football player last year. Tavon Smith was charged with negligent manslaughter, criminal negligence, and reckless endangerment in the death of Lamar Patterson, 17, on February 2nd, 2022. News station WJZ reported. Charging documents obtained from the station alleged that Smith caused Patterson's death by operating the locomotive in a grossly negligent manner. Patterson was driving to the St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, heading west on Maple Road in Linthicum, when his car was struck by an MTA light rail train traveling east, killing him. Investigators initially said that Patterson failed to stop at the railroad crossing, even though the gates were lowering and the signals were flashing and the train was sounding its horn.
Now that initially, did they change their mind?
Hang on.
You got more?
Oh, there's more?
There's more.
Da, 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 da. Da, da, da,
As
da.
Paul Harvey say, now for the rest of the story. Patterson, 17, was on his way to the St. Francis Academy in Baltimore, where he was a standout junior wide receiver. But when the police later reviewed the surveillance footage, they saw that the railroad's crossing arms were not down at the time of the crash. Smith did recklessly engage in conduct that created substantial risk of death and serious injury to Patterson, according to the court filing. I really want to see how they came with that. The 17-year-old athlete was a standout junior. He was a standout, and he happened to be a person of color down there. Where
Sounds like the engineer was too.
Yes, he was. They didn't say that. And when he transferred in his freshman year to the private school's renowned football program. So here was a kid well on his way. The engineer was never informed any problems were with the crossing. Yet he was driving recklessly.
You can only go where the tracks take him. You can't swerve out of the way.
Did anybody call
No, nobody
and say,
called.
hey, we got a problem at the gates here. Go slow down.
Because
Prepare to
nobody,
stop.
because the general public, most of the general public can give to, flying whatchamacallits about the railroads. They don't care.
Well, in the end, the family will get money.
Yes.
And hopefully the engineer won't be charged with,
But he's already charged with it.
be convicted of doing anything.
Well, hopefully the people are open-minded.
Like Brian, you're asking too much by having people be open-minded these days.
Okay, then, well, by God, we go to their school and teach them Operation Lifesaver.
I agree.
But would that really help?
No.
I mean, if you can't hear a horn or you know that there's a train somewhat coming.
You have lights flashing in front of you.
Right.
You have
Yeah, but
gates coming down.
People look at the lights flashing
And
as
say,
a hurry up.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hurry up and go over the crossing. They don't realize that once those lights flash
You're
and
supposed
you
to
go
stop.
across that crossing, you are breaking the law.
yes.
But people don't know that. And the law it's not taught to people. Do they teach that in driver's ed? I don't think so.
The
I
only
don't
place
think they
Well,
taught that.
depending upon what schools you go to, during the season, I was able to help Gordon out. Gordy Bub. He had a thing going with Palatine and
What about-
doing their driver's ed schools
Yeah.
classes.
What about the crossing on Irving Park in Bellwood? Is it Bellwood? Where they have, if the gates start to come down in the flashing and you go past, the camera's going to take your picture. Because they have a camera on the other side of the tracks. Just a few, But I mean,
They did that because of the
they had too
incidents
many
they
people
did have.
were running because they weren't aware how fast the train was coming. that Bellwood? No, that's
Wooddale, I think.
Wooddale, excuse me, Wooddale.
Yeah,
Wooddale. They have,
something like that there.
Yeah. because I guess they had too many problems, or or
Yeah.
accidents that people were jumping and the train was, or they were a short gate or whatever they had at the time. People always think they can make
My
it.
favorite is do not stop on the tracks.
Why?
You know, and then you get in the traffic and you see all these people pull up, stuck in traffic, stop on the tracks.
Big sign, don't stop.
Right,
on
it says do not stop.
Yeah, and our big slogan is, if it don't fit, don't commit.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's even
No. Well, Grand Avenue.
Yeah,
They're
that's a good example.
finally, they're saying they've got some funds. They are going to make it safe. I'm going, well, we're talking how many years later?
17 years ago that happened, and now you want to do something about it.
Yeah, because I was in
Has
the
it been
cab.
that long? Wow,
I was in the cab that night.
that's a long time
But
to try to
because
correct something.
on that line, the engineer who's normally assigned to it, and it was he goes, he's the one that took the hit. And I'm going, why? I was the one behind the throttle. But that was a hell of a pool game that night.
Moving on to something more pleasant.
Yes.
The STP issues the final environmental review of the proposed CP-KCS merger.
Ooh.
January 27th, final environmental impact statement for the merger, issued in 3 volumes, if you care to do a lot of reading.
Nope.
The final EIS provides additional information on the resource areas of grade crossing, delay, safety, noise, and vibration. It also sets forth the final recommendations of the STB Office of Environmental Analysis, including mitigation measures. The final EIS responds to comments received on the draft, was issued August 5th of 2022. Public comment on the documents closed on October 14th, 2022. So if you want to have a say, tough tooties. You're too late. Oswego renews agreements with lobbyists, lucky them, working to get funds for Metro extension. Oswego Village Board recently approved another extension to agreements with lobbyists to help secure funding for 2 major projects, a Metro commuter rail extension into Kendall County and the transition of Lake Michigan drinking water through a connection with the DuPage Water Commission for the village. Oswego and Yorkville in 2018 hired Chicago-based lobbying firm Casper and Notag PC to secure infrastructure funding for a Metro commuter station. A year later, the state passed its first capital plan in a decade, which included $100 million in funding to the Regional Transportation Authority for a Kendall County Metro Rail extension. The village of Montgomery in 2019 joined the partnership with Oswego and Yorkville for the lobbying services. In 2020, Oswego hired lobbying firm Elevate Government Affairs to represent the village at the federal level. Yorkville, Montgomery, and Kendall County joined an intergovernmental agreement to share the cost. The Oswego Village Administrator Dan DeSanto said the purpose of hiring federal and state lobbyists to utilize their expertise to help secure funding and financing for both major projects in the village.
Are they working on it, or is it just talk?
They're lobbying.
Oh, they're lobbying.
They want to get more money. A monthly retainer of $7,000 through intergovernmental agreement with Casper and Notage is equally shared by Oswego and Montgomery. Oh boy, it just goes on and on. Anyways, so they're trying to get rail service, and it's a perfect opportunity for Metro from DeKalb to Chicago as city assesses commuter future, says the mayor. A new commuter connection, if added, will bring rail service from DeKalb to the Elburn Metro Station. Commuter rail stop could make it more convenient for commuters traveling from DeKalb to get to Chicago. the comprehensive public transportation study approved at the recent city council meeting will examine if it's feasible to establish a service in DeKalb and DeKalb County. It will allow the city to take a close look at potential ridership needs, current transportation options, environmental impact, and how much it would take to bring commuter rail service to DeKalb. Let's see what's here. The project will be conducted in phases with participation from local and regional public officials. NIU was lauded for its efforts to collaborate and partner on this matter, saying that commuter service would greatly benefit the university, much like the city of DeKalb. So there you have it. And I won't read the rest because it's long and lengthy and boring. And that's all the news for my part of the world.
Okay, one last one for our favorite railroad, UP. The Surface Transportation Board has rejected Union Pacific Railroad's request to keep certain commercial information confidential in the case involving the Class 1's use of traffic-controlled embargoes. Last month, the board held a 2-day hearing on UP's use of embargoes as a method of controlling rail traffic. During the hearing, board members asked UP to submit additional information that UP later says qualifies as confidential commercial information. All under board regulations and should be kept from release under the Freedom of Information Act. But the Freight Rail Customer Alliance and National Coal Transportation Association on January 4th filed a reply in opposition to UP's motion for a protective order. The reply argues that the primary issue in the proceeding is UP's lack of accountability and transparency related to the use of embargoes and other services and restrictions, that UP should not be permitted to prevent customers and public from scrutinizing its action by keeping information submitted to the STB confidential. Several labor unions also filed in opposition to UP's request, saying the railroad failed to identify the information it wants to keep confidential. A decision issued on January 20th, STB agreed with the FRCA and NCTA, stating that the transparency will be pursued to the greatest degree possible. Information submitted by UP should be made available to the public as long as it doesn't cause UP competitive harm. To read the full STB decision, click here. And my clicker didn't work.
I could just see them taking that and expanding it.
Yes.
You know, all this stuff is privileged information. We can't tell you anything. We're giving away competitive information. Our competitors will find out how they can embargo freight.
Yeah, they sit there, embargo the freight to keep it down. Okay, we only take this much of this cargo, and then we'll see what tomorrow's like. You never know.
A lot of smart people.
Yeah, a lot smarter than we are.
Well,
I think
they
you could do
keep
a
telling me that, but
I think you would do a better job, Dave.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. You'd have people working.
well, at least the weather's getting to be nice. You know, it's going to have a snowstorm, what, 2 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
But let's see.
No, we're gonna get some rain and wind first.
Yeah, we're going to
Tonight.
get some rain and wind.
Well, of course, we're the Windy City. See how many trees come down.
Well, I cut my two down that were they were getting ready to come down, so I shouldn't have to worry.
All
Were
right.
they On your property or
Yeah. Yeah.
big ones?
Expensive.
Yeah, well, yeah, tree trimming, tree removal is not cheap.
Yeah.
My son had a number of trees removed and trimmed
Yeah,
in
but-
Lombard.
But these guys cut them down, and they take the wood away.
Mhm.
And they make money off of the waste.
Yeah.
They make money.
Money.
Yeah. After one limb broke off and took out our power for 5 days, it was
Oh yeah, you weren't happy.
no, I wasn't, not at all.
No.
Luckily, the insurance covered most of that.
Oh, wow, that's
Well,
good.
that's the same thing that happened in Lombard. But it went to a power station, and they were out for about 5 days.
So what else is new? What's new in the world of model railroading?
Not a whole lot. Let's see. About a couple weeks ago, Lionel came out with their new and glorious catalog. Prices are high. You know, you guys want a Vision Line Big Boy set with a half a dozen freight cars? It can all be yours for a glorious price of $4,000. Who's gonna buy that? I don't know. Not me.
Somebody will.
Well, yeah, somebody will, but
Yeah.
Not
it's
the casual hobbyist.
No.
it's getting ridiculous.
Mhm.
There were shops that actually came up online and said, "We're closing our doors," right on Facebook, the pages.
Yeah.
In fact, the shop I actually knew, it's from Boyertown, Pennsylvania, and I knew the people that ran it. I know because me and the one guy became very friendly on the wrestling mats.
Were you wrestling over model railroad equipment?
Well, eventually, when we found that out, yes,
Did you win?
yes, I did.
Okay. I'll leave it at that.
And
But yeah, but you know, it's like you're talking about the catalog. You're looking at it, and it's like about that thick.
Yep.
And then you sit there and says, "Well, to get more information, go
go
to
to the Lionel website and view the catalog
and
online.
you'll get a catalog like this."
Oh, yeah.
Well, printing costs are expensive.
So they say.
Well, that's what you notice. Like we lost all the timetables for Amtrak. If you want to, you have to go online to do anything you want. But they refuse to print timetables, even regional timetables. I'm going, what? These guys that are running are airline people. They don't know trains.
That's the problem. You need to get somebody who knows trains and not somebody who knows about flying airplanes or, let's say, driving a motor coach around. We don't need somebody from Greyhound working at Amtrak or somebody from Frontier.
Well, I don't know, because that's the big suggestion. One of the services they wanted to do was Allentown to New York,
I remember.
and also have Reading
Yeah.
to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do?
Greyhound bus.
They put in buses, not trains, buses. Unless we could put flanged wheels on them. Yeah.
Why would
Bring
you
back the aero trains.
that, or let's just bring back the Galloping Goose,
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. We could do
They're
that.
just trying to kill the system.
They're doing a pretty good job of
I
that.
got a friend who works for Amtrak, and he says it's terrible to work for a company that's trying so hard to go out of business.
Wow.
That's what happened when they first started Amtrak. They envisioned it to be gone in 5 years.
They didn't envision it to stay around 50 years.
Nope.
No.
Jeez.
They surprised everybody, including Congress. But see, that's what it was. You had people get in that knew how to run railroads.
Mhm.
Clater.
Mm-hmm.
He actually made money by getting the haulers cars. They actually got the mail contract. That's what kept the railroads running in passenger service, was the mail contracts. When you look at it, and when they did it, ran it for the 3 years, they were able to bring they had 10 trains they bought online. They were running night and day service on the same railroad, so you had 2 different trains that were perfectly synced. You can take a night train to Pittsburgh, or you can take a day train to Pittsburgh. They're not, they say, and at Christmas, they had the cars all. The trucks couldn't even handle all the mail. They put them in the passenger cars. That paid. And then people in Congress says, "Oh, we got to get it. We got to protect our jobs."
Right. Yeah, they protect the jobs all right.
They did a good job of that.
Oh, that's
yeah.
our government.
Well, speaking of open houses, got a message in the mail from the Chicago Lionel Club in New Lenox. They're going to have an open house on the 18th.
February 18th.
February 18th. Open house. Come on down, see the nice work Kevin did.
Yeah, Pullman's also getting ready to do another big event, I think in May.
Ah.
Yeah, back with the private cars, and it's supposed to be a week-long
event. Yeah. Yeah, I heard about it. Now that they officially got the status.
Yeah, they're national park.
Yep. They are official now.
So maybe somebody will sell our posters there. We're not doing it. I'm not doing it. The Historic Pullman Foundation bought our posters, and they also have a Pullman poster that they sell.
Mm.
And the artist Mitch Markovitz goes, he says, the Railroad History Month poster sells far and above what the Pullman posters sell.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've had to resupply them twice, so.
Well, that's good.
Yes, I'd like to get those 300 posters off my front porch before I move.
Where are you going to move to?
We don't know yet.
Oh.
We're still looking. We haven't put our house on the market yet.
Oh, okay. And you don't know which...
I've looked in Rockford. I looked in Peoria. My wife goes, I want to move south away from the cold weather. But I want to stay in Illinois.
Where is it warm in Illinois?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably around
St. Louis area, maybe.
Paducah, Kentucky.
Was it
I'm just...
there's a website called One Country,
Hmm.
and they've got a house that they're going to be auctioning off.
Oh, yeah.
It's
in the Ozarks.
yeah, in the Ozarks,
You get the house and 60 acres of land.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that.
a half-mile riverfront.
I wonder how
The
much
White
tickets...
River.
Does it have
It
public
must be about
sewers?
$100 a piece.
Yes.
It does.
Oh, not public sewers. It's got a sewerage system.
Got a septic system.
Yeah.
Does it have public water? No.
Probably a well.
I don't know if it does or not.
See, these are all things that are on my wife's list of things that we need. No septic system, public water.
Okay, then go to HGTV and get the
HGTV.
HGTV. They got their 23 house up. They're doing, and that's up in Colorado, 2.5 mil.
Oh yeah, that's right within our budget.
No. This is what you win.
That's what you win.
You win a new Jeep to go with it
Oh, wow.
because it's just outside of Denver.
How much are the tickets?
And I don't know. You just go and sign up, and then you got to go to their advertisers so many times, I guess.
Yeah, right. You got to get all this crap in your email box.
That's it. You know.
No, I don't know what's going to happen with us.
Yeah.
You know, we're packing slowly but surely. I've got a garage full of boxes,
Okay.
and I've got a basement full of boxes, and I've got a front porch full of boxes. And we're running out of room for boxes, and we're only about half packed.
That much stuff?
You need one of them.
How long were you married? You're still married?
Huh?
How long have you been married?
Almost 50 years.
That's a lot of stuff.
Junk to accumulate? Yeah, my wife's an accumulator.
That's the same with my wife.
Yeah, she's got hobbies.
I figure
Martha was not that way.
I could get one of them pod boxes.
Yeah, right. Oh, I need a pod trailer.
Well, no.
Semi.
I'll let the semi haul it.
Oh, we should probably go. I'm sure the audience is not interested in listening to her
That's true. We're sitting around.
chit-chatting.
No, I was talking with
What's his name?
Ron,
My name's Ron.
and I was talking about like some of the stuff we talked about coming in. Like I have that set of cards for
Right,
Trivia
right,
Pursuit. And I came upon a game that I haven't really opened. I bought it. It was made by Lionel
Okay.
in 1984.
They must be desperate.
It was sitting in the PX. It's in Subic Bay.
And just because it had Lionel written all over it and some other memorabilia stuff, he like, oh, I got to have that. And then he never opened it up.
No, I opened it up, but I
Looked at
never
Played it.
never played with it. Never took it out. But it had a thing in there, and it said, if you have a problem, call Lionel, and we'll, talk. You can talk to the gamer, and they'll
I just
give
wonder
you
if the gamer
suggestions.
is still around.
He is. He's our age in a basement room.
Oh, they don't allow you.
You got to call. What?
Anyway, I'm sitting there, and so I open the box up, and I am looking, and all of a sudden, catches me. I look in the corner. One corner down has all these written instructions.
Handwritten?
Yes. All these handwritten.
That's probably the guy that's going to answer the phone call.
Probably. It was talking about how getting points and stuff. I'm sitting there going, the whole time that I've had this, never really looked at it.
Like I say, he just had to have it because of.
It was Lionel.
Bring it in.
But
We'll have a whole show where we play it.
We'll read
And
the
occasionally we'll make calls to the guy at Lionel.
Yeah. Are you sure you can't find anybody? It's called double crossing or something.
God.
Yes.
It sounds like the rail industry.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be rail barons or something, double crossing. I think I got that game. Yeah, I got that game too.
It's called Double Crossing.
Double crossing.
Okay, there's a place over by us that's kind of like a cafe, but it's a game room.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's got over 400 board games in this.
Bet he doesn't have double crossing with the handwritten instructions on the box.
Have to go find out.
Yeah.
You have the game
I'll
Double
have
Crossing.
to remember to bring it next month.
When you call me, I'll remind you.
Oh, well.
Are we gonna?
Oh, yeah, they're going to be the 8th, the same day, that's right.
Are we gonna sign off here?
I guess we're going to try. Yeah, let's give it a shot.
He's playing with his new computer. It looks like.
Oh, we
Could hardly hear that.
As our express comes into the terminal, we want to thank you for joining us on our journey through the wonderful world of trains. Chicago Junction is a production of the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and can be listened to on the web at www.windycityhometown.com, where you can listen to tonight's broadcast and all of our past episodes. You can also sample some of the other fine programs that are being offered. Till next month when we have Happy Journey, this is your announcer Brian Ballou saying happy rails to you.
You have been listening to Chicago Junction on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Wednesday, February the 8th, the year 2023. Chicago Junction was produced and directed by John DeVita, and our special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Seconda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Wednesday, February the 8th, the year 2023. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening.